You're watching the KDLT Sports Gridiron Preview Show.
And welcome to our 2017 Gridiron Preview Show. I'm Mark Ovenden. He is Zach Borg. We'll be talking both high school and college football over the next half hour.
But before we can get back in the saddle, we take a quick look at an exciting 2016.
We got to play like all day long, all night long.
Takes the shotgun snap, fade for Winnicke, he caught it in the end zone, touchdown, South Dakota State!
I get pumped watching that all over again. We start this year's Gridiron Preview Show with Division I college football. Now, all eyes are on the South Dakota State Jackrabbits this year. They are near the top of almost all the national polls, and for very good reason. I talked with head coach John Stiegelmeier about what everybody else is expecting from his very talented team. Expectations really high here in Brookings for this year's South Dakota State team. John Stiegelmeier, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, you want to have goals that you want to reach the top. And obviously, if you've had teams that have played well and you have the type of players we have coming back, the expectations are going to be high. I think it's a great thing for this football team.
This football team has some unbelievable talent back. You've been getting all kinds of national recognition in the polls. People have great expectations for your team. Pressure comes with that, though. Is that something that you can help your players deal with?
Well, we talk about it all the time. We talk about, and they talk about it. They talk about the ratings just means there's a target on our back, and there is much expected of us. So I think it depends totally on the individuals. It depends totally on the team, and the weight really falls on our senior leadership. That really who handles the pressure.
How good can this team be?
Well, with who we have back and how hard they've worked in the summer and our fall camp, I think we can have a special year. Football's a fickle game, though. You know that. This much, 6 inches can lose you a football game. So we need to be sharp every play.
Yeah, because you don't have that monster game on your schedule, but you still got a good schedule.
We've got a great schedule. We've got a great home schedule. The Missouri Valley is unbelievably tough, but we'll be ready for that. We get a great game to go play Montana State. So we're really excited about our schedule.
And lastly, how important is it to have this place to come back to as a home field advantage in the playoffs in particular?
That would be, it'd be unbelievable. It was unbelievable last year for Villanova. You know, we've got to do everything we can to be one of those top 8 seeds.
The South Dakota Coyotes come into 2017 thinking that they can be a dark horse to make the FCS playoffs. A big reason for that optimism, the return of their all-conference quarterback, Chris Strevler.
I'm wreaking havoc back here. I'm Ed Reed.
Most quarterbacks run from hitting.
To this day, probably still my favorite part of football is just the contact. As a kid, it definitely applied and still applies now.
Chris Strevler runs to it.
Strevler spins through the middle.
Because he likes
20,
it.
over the 10, another touchdown.
He's certainly one of the more physical quarterbacks I've ever had.
I mean, we follow him, we look up to him, a whole lot of leadership. He's a great leader.
That's come from learning how to take hits on and off the field. Strevler's career began at Minnesota. Though he showed promise in several games, Chris never could grab the starter's role full-time, but never complained.
Mitch Leidner was ahead of me, and that's just kind of the way it was. And, you know, I wasn't the type of backup to ask questions or create controversy after the game I started. And I just, you know, my biggest thing while I was there was just I'm going to do everything I can to help the team win in any way it was. And felt good leaving there on good terms. And, you know, I was just ready to move on to the next chapter.
He transferred into a similar situation at USD.
I wasn't asking to be guaranteed anything. I just wanted an opportunity to compete, and I was given that here.
And Chris established himself as one of the best quarterbacks in the Missouri Valley, running for more than 800 yards, passing for more than 1,900, and accounting for 31 touchdowns.
What I really think he's improved upon in the last year, since last fall, is he's become a more complete quarterback and able to recognize coverage and distribute the football better in the passing game.
Since his first day on campus, you just know that he's different. He's a different breed of guy, and he's going to do whatever it takes to help the team win.
And now Strevler is seen as the leader of a Coyote team with playoff plans.
It wasn't something where I was like, I fulfilled everything, where I wanted to make big numbers. Winning is the most important thing to me.
Something he's ready to take on. While both State and U have the luxury of returning starters at quarterback, our local Division II teams are starting over under center.
Yeah, they have great quarterbacks for sure. Now, 3 of the 4 teams are going to have brand new quarterbacks this year, and the biggest change may be at the University of Sioux Falls. For the first time in 5 years, Luke Papillion is not the Cougars' starting quarterback. Matt Young, Young, the grandson of the legendary Coup coach Bob Young, has moved back to quarterback from DB and is competing with several newcomers to replace the player who holds almost every offensive record at USF. Add to that, they have a new coach in John Anderson after Jed Stugart left for Lindenwood. The defending NSIC champions are obviously going to rely more on the run of this guy with All-American Max Mickey. He is back after rushing for almost 1,700 yards and 19 touchdowns.
I think no matter who's at quarterback, even if, the team last year I think was heavy run. That just shows the capabilities that he has, and as we get going, I'm sure we'll lean on him.
A lot of teams expect us to run the ball a lot, and I think we're going to be ready for that. I mean, running the ball is kind of what we're doing this year, but also I think they're going to have to respect our passing game because, they don't know a whole lot about our young receivers and everyone who's stepped up.
Over at Augustana, the Vikings are minus not 1, but 2 quarterbacks. Former NSIC Player of the Year Trey HEID, who set nearly every program passing record, has graduated. And his backup, Chase MARSO, had to leave the team to begin medical school at Harvard. Jerry OLSZEWSKI's team will likely turn to University of Tulsa transfer Ryan Rubley, the only player on the roster who has ever played in a college game. Despite the turnover, Coach O thinks the program is as strong as ever in his 4th season.
It's the next opportunity, and we think we've recruited well. I think we have very good players that whether they have that kind of career or that kind of season isn't going to determine our success, and it's not me, it's we.
All the players that are capable of stepping up and are stepping up into new starting roles, and are players that have seen significant time before and have made big plays in big games, and we're just excited to go out there and prove what we know we can be.
Now up in Aberdeen, the Northern State Wolves are seeking their 4th straight winning season under head coach Tom Dosh. Though they lost a pretty good quarterback of their own in Chase McElvain to graduation, they seem a little more settled with former Brandon Valley star Jake Como poised to take over. He's going to be a redshirt sophomore this season after appearing in 2 games last year where he went 11 for 15 with 95 yards and a touchdown.
Southwest Minnesota State is the only team that doesn't have a question at quarterback. Senior Blake GIMBEL leads the Mustangs charge. In 3 years, he's thrown for more than 6,000 yards and 51 touchdowns and just 19 interceptions. Almost everyone from their offense is back, but the Mustangs need their defense to improve to be a contender. They were near the bottom of the NSIC last year with 445 yards per game, which is a big reason they fell from 8-3 to 5-6.
You can score points, though, that's for sure. Next up, this guy, Josh Anderson, joins us as we preview NAIA football.